Welcome to Wizards of the Tower,
Roleplay.
where we talk everything role-playing games. This episode, we're going to be talking about letting your players describe their successes and their failures. Welcome to Wizards of the Tower,
Roleplay.
where we talk everything role-playing games. And today, we're going to be talking about letting your players describe their successes and their failures. Now, what is this? Okay, let's say you're in the middle of a fight. And let's say that they're fighting a big ogre. And they've been fighting this for a while. And let's say Tom gets the killing blow. Okay, as a DM, I used to say, okay, Tom, you step back and you thrust deep with your sword, taking out the monster. In this instance, I would then say, Tom, you took down the monster. Tell me what that looks like.
Exactly. So I would say, well, I jump in under its swing and take my broadsword and I ram it up under the ogre's chin, and it goes all the way up into his head and comes out the top of his skull. And then I pull it out quickly before when it topples over, it breaks my sword in half.
Right. So you kind of get a taste right there of what that's like.
Yeah.
Now, let's say that Tom is he's a thief, and let's say he's trying to eavesdrop on somebody, and let's say he rolls a critical success, and I say, okay, Tom, you succeed. Tell me what is that like? What's that look like?
Well, then you're able to sneak down outside a window undetected, and there's room on a ledge just enough to sneak over and get your ear up next to the window, and you're able to overhear their plans quite clearly.
Yeah. Or, Tom, you're a pirate. You opted to swing from on one of the ropes across to your ship, and you rolled in that one. Tell me what does that look like?
I run up to the mast and over by across the yard arm, grab the rope, and just as I grab it, a gust of wind swings the rope away, and my hand closes on empty air, and I'm unable to stop, and I tumble face first down into the water and smash into the water.
Right. Now, how did I start using this? Well, I started doing it because of online pirate board game that I was playing in.
Yeah.
Every time that we succeeded in doing something, our game master, harbor master in this case, would say, tell me how that looks.
Yeah.
What's that look like?
Yeah.
And it gave us the chance to describe in detail of what we imagined was going on.
Yeah.
And it took that away from the harbor master from having to come up with it and describe it and put it into the players. So they got a piece of the action. They got a piece of the pie of the storytelling.
I think it works exceptionally well when you're online gaming. It gives everyone a visual sense of what's taking place in the game, so that they all can visualize success and failures. Now, online gaming has, those problems where you're basically just staring at your computer screen, looking at a map with a dice roller over in the corner and maybe a spreadsheet with your character. You're not sitting around a table with your friends. You're not looking at a map. You're not looking at your figures. You're not doing anything like that. So we've talked about the advantages and disadvantages of online gaming, and we're not going to bring that up again because we've talked.
Beating a dead horse.
Yeah, pros and cons, as it goes. However, as you're able to talk to each other, over your microphones, I think it adds an actual additional element to the gaming situation where you can describe what you're doing and how you're doing it. And, I've always liked the idea of critical failures. I always think it's kind of really amazing to imagine, what would my failure be? I'm swinging backwards with my axe, but I don't know that my best friend is behind me, and I brain him. And as I turn and look, I drop my axe and along with my friend, and the monster gets a strike in and knocks me flat. critical failure. I mean, to me, that's just a really interesting way to talk about failing as a fighter.
Now, does it have to be used only online? Absolutely not.
No.
I use it in my tabletop gaming.
Yes, you do.
And I think it just adds that extra dimension. Instead of I, as the DM or GM, having to describe how you killed the monster,
Yeah.
I'm taking that away from the players when I do that. And instead, by saying, tell me, how does that
Yeah.
look?
Yeah.
That now gives the storytelling aspect of the players a chance to shine and role play a little bit more, even if they're not a role player. Everyone likes to imagine. It's like, oh, how does that look? You know, you think from okay, yeah, as Tom said, I run up underneath the ogre and I jab my broadsword up underneath its chin, coming out the top of his brain, and I yank it out just before he tumbles to the ground, and I tumble away as he falls flat on the ground.
Yeah.
What a description!
It gets you thinking about how your character acts and interacts with other players, and it excites the imagination. Now, I know we're talking about violent acts here, okay? D&D, Pathfinder, is a lot about combat.
A lot of all
There's a lot of combat, so there's a lot of violent combat in it. We're not going to go down that road because we've talked about that before, about the idea of catharsis and the sense that, you know, role-playing leads to this idea of reducing stress in people, how it focuses them better on their lives. What it is, though, is it gives you a chance to visualize what you're doing. You're picking a lock. You're completing a stealth check to where you're able to actually sneak across a steep banister or a railing, or you're able to convince somebody. How does that look? Well, I'm able to, you know, convince them by noticing that they're wearing a medal on their uniform, and I say, oh, look, you fought in the Battle of the East Woods. Well, I was there too, blah, 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 that sort of thing, and you describe what you do. It gives a chance for players to interact in that sense, and I think it's fun, really fun.
Yeah. It gives a greater sense of visualization and imagery.
Yeah.
Because D&D is, or all fantasy role-playing games are all visual-based.
Pretty much.
You know,
Pretty
mind's
much.
eye.
Yeah.
And that just adds a whole nother
it all takes
immersion
place up here.
in the mind's eye.
Yeah.
It adds, like I said, some role-playing. You know, for people who aren't role-playing, that is an aspect of role-playing that maybe they don't think that they'd be good at, and it gives them a chance to shine and describe what's going on.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be detailed, but you know, you put that into the player's hands to then let them run with what happened.
Yeah. I remember years back when we had a young lady in our group, and we had captured some prisoners. And she was a fighter, I think, in the group. And we didn't have any provisions for the prisoners. Or we were on a ship, I think, and we didn't have room for them or something. And we were just talking, and we're like, okay, what do we do with the prisoners? And she said, oh, I just make them kneel down, I cut their throats and throw them over the side. And we were like, what? Because we had never heard that from her, ever, visualizing what her character would do with people. You know, and not a good character, obviously. Not evil, but definitely not good. And I remember just being shocked, like, oh my God, you know, what did she say? What did she do? But then I thought, oh, that's kind of cool, because it gives her a chance to visualize what she's going to do as her player. Obviously not what she would do in real life, but what she would do as her player. So she, embodies her player, and then has some actions that her player would do.
Now I know somebody would have said, no, you don't do that. And I'm like, it's already said and done.
Yeah, it's already done.
It's already said and done.
Yeah.
What'd you do that for? It's part of the role play.
We had a player like that too, who always wanted to try to back people up and get them to do something different, and it led to a lot of friction. But anyway, I love the visual aspect of this, because I see role playing as a way. It's a theater of the mind, and I've one of the things that attracts me so much to it is how it works, and that's one reason why I love homebrew games, because I know homebrew games are wide open, and you can do anything in homebrew games. You know, if it's a module and you're sort of locked into this pathway that you have to go, they're still fun to play.
But you can still do that, and by doing this, it adds depth to the adventure.
It could add a depth to an adventure that lacks a certain amount of depth. And so that's why I would say,
Yeah.
for people to exercise their imagination in that sense, to describe what they're doing
Yeah.
to others so that people have an idea of what you think you're doing.
Yeah, it lets the players have a piece of the pie of what's happening in the adventure.
Yeah.
It gives them, trying to think of the word for it,
Carrots.
carrots. Yeah, it gives them carrots. No, it gives them a stake in what's happening.
Oh, a steak. Oh,
A steak.
I was close because I said carrots.
Food. Right?
Yeah, it does. It actually gives people a part of that.
Yeah.
That's part of what's
And then
going
they
on in
start
the action.
feeling like they're of worth
Yeah.
within the game.
Yeah.
Instead of just, like I said, the DM or the GM saying, okay, this is what you do and this is what happens.
So.
And that's so much of the time. Every game that I've ever been in until Pirate Board with Mark and Pirate
Yeah.
Board, that's how I
A lot of
had,
ways, yeah.
I had always seen it done, and it was just the way I'm like, it just dawned on me. It's like, why haven't I been doing this for years?
Yeah.
I've been playing since '79.
Yeah.
And and I always got into the description of well, how they killed the monster. Oh, you rolled a nat 20 and you did X amount of damage. Okay, you slice it and whatever else.
Yeah.
Okay, well now I don't have to do that. I put that back in the players, and that frees me up to do more of what I need to do.
Yes, exactly. Kind of cool in that sense.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I think we're going to end this episode of Wizards of the Tower.
Role play.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, spread the word, ring the bell, leave a comment, because we'll always comment back to you, whether it's thanks for the comment or whatever. If you have friends, please invite them on over to Wizards of the Tower. We really appreciate everybody that
do.
follows us. We're a small channel, 325, 350, something like that, growing slowly. If you don't like what we have to say, then just leave. Don't leave a negative, because we're just small bones. You want to leave a negative, leave that to the big guys out there that are always talking about Wizards of the Tower, Wizards of the Coast failing, and whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Else. So, whatever. We're here to talk about everything role-playing games.
Yeah.
So anyway, may all your adventures be epic.
And keep on rolling.
Thanks, folks.